Hi everyone, Josh Sachs here again with our latest episode of Winner's Circle. With me today, I have the winner of the FPO division from the Top Link Open, Miss Colleen McInnes. Welcome, Colleen.
Hey, thank you for having me.
How did Barrie treat you this time? Because I know it's
Really
been a
well.
while.
I haven't played there in a long time. It's been years, to be honest. And I had a lot of really good luck on the second round. There's this one shot on hole 15 that I kind of pulled it a little bit right. It's from like one platform to the other. It has a shared tee pad. I yanked it a little, just a touch right, and it nicked a tree and it redirected it right at the pin. And it literally hit the pole and stopped right there. So, and a lot of people are, that hole is like so hard to even putt on because of the hills. So I had a lot of good luck.
I worry about hitting metal on that that hole because just the rollaway potential.
Yeah. I think I had taken enough speed off when I like dinged the tree, and it was just a putter, so it was very lucky though.
It's funny you mentioned the shared tee pad because like day one I played longs with you guys, like the same layout as you guys through a berg. Day two we're playing shorts. I'm like, okay, well it's still a berg because it's the same tee pad. I aired it like just right over the pin, and Brophy was there spotting. And I'm like, did that even hit the ground when it got to the bottom of the hill? He's like, nope, it was still in the air, got knocked down by a tree. Like, that's not a hole I'm supposed to be throwing a bird like 200 feet down a hill.
Yeah. Well, and it's hard because when you're throwing a putter, there's nothing less. And then the best shots I saw was like a lot of people were doing this really short putter shot where you skip off the ground right when it starts to slope up, and you skip forward like a counter skip because you're going uphill. And like the first round, Alex did it, and I think Rebecca did it, and like both of their shots were perfect, and they both birdied it. So it was like, but they still had to make a putt, and there's still so much danger there. It's not even like it doesn't really matter where you go on your drive unless you're parked on that hole, because if you're running a putt and you roll away, like we had one roll away on the second day, and it was so far down the hill, like it was, at that point you're just pitching back up too. So
But it sounds a lot like the approach I was taking for the island hole on hole 8 is just like pound it into that hill. Don't worry about what it's going to do. Just throw it into that hill because it'll stick.
Yeah, that's what I was doing too. I was like,
I saw you got it both days.
We talked a lot about the flag that's there, because like they had two flags, like one on either side, and you're like, most people, because there's usually wind there, the safest bet for them is a backhand hyzer, like with your most reliable whatever. And so a lot of people were saying like that right flag was just so perfectly in the way. But I threw truth, and it was like the same shot both days, I think, where I just it looked like you barely make it in, and then you hit right at the front at the base, and it skips up the hill a little bit, and then it's just like a tap in. But I felt like I had that one dialed in, but it was it was a lot of people's like least favorite hole, least favorite memory of the round.
I will say I'm happy someone hit the ace on that hole, but I could not imagine. Like, it's not a good shot if you ace that hole. I don't care that it's an ace. Like, if you miss the basket, it's guaranteed OB.
The only thing about that was the juniors were playing no OB on that hole. So
were they?
Yeah, I was telling them.
Okay, good for them.
Yes, like I told Brooklyn, like you might as well run it. It's $2,000. Like if you get a 3 on that hole, whatever, it's 40 holes in the round. So, you could take 1-3 to try and get $2,000, because it doesn't matter how far they go if they go past. So that was
okay.
But it wasn't a junior who aced, so it didn't matter. That guy, like, I don't know if he was going for it or what, but lucky. And then you know, they had some weird OB on that hole. I didn't particularly like what they did. It was like the left and right side were OB, and there was this yellow line, and then if you didn't pass that yellow line, you threw from where you went OB. So there was two different things I saw happen, like with like really bad circumstances and just like definitely a bad throw, but like someone throwing OB and then going from before the yellow brick line, like throwing from their inbound spot there, and then they cross over the island, and now they're still going to the drop zone, which you basically have to do that because it's an elevated on a hill thing. And so it was like there was a lot of big numbers because of if you make a mistake on your drive, it's like so detrimental to not be able to go to the drop zone. I think that was like they had to get a waiver for that and everything because it's like such a complicated OB, but crazy.
I was very confused by it too. I'm glad like day one, all four of us made it, and day two, we were playing from the shorts. Like you don't need all that space, and you're throwing something a lot slower. So the guys on my card that missed, it was obvious they missed, but they were running it like right at the pin.
Yeah,
like it was definitely OB over the island, not any of these side out whatever the heck rule that was confusing.
Yeah. Well, you know, like I said, those were obviously bad shots if they didn't make it past that yellow line, but it was like kind of silly to punish them further for that. Like, you know, I feel like next year, I think it would be a better hole if everyone just went to the drop zone if you go OB on your drive. And then if you go OB after that, you can go back in from where you were out of bounds. Like, I don't see the point in making it that complicated, but, you know, whatever, each to their own. But I obviously I didn't have a problem with it, so it was good.
Nope, you liked that hole this weekend. It did good things for you.
Yes. Yeah.
And so -6 on day two, quite the statement round for sure.
Yeah. I had a good round the first day. I felt like it was kind of pretty basic. I had two bad holes, and it was 4 and 5, and they're both at the beginning, and they're both kind of open-ish holes. And the whole night on Saturday, I was very happy with my round. I kept trying to tell myself that and just be like, it's just those two holes. I need to do something different. And like, honestly, at 4, there's a little bait gap from the longs. It's like, go under the tree through this hole. And the first day I tried it, yeah. And I was like, that was dumb. I got knocked, like the wind lifted me. I hit the branch and it knocked me down. And I was in a really bad spot. But then the second day, I was like, I'm not going to do something dumb. I'm going to just take this open gap and go out there somewhere. And I yanked it and hit the tree anyways. And then I had a really good recovery shot the second day, but I just didn't make the putt because I was in the trees. And it was just honestly probably one of my poorest attempts that round to make a putt. So I ended up getting a 4 on it for the second round, but I 5'd it the first round. So I was like, that's already an improvement. So
did you go big? Were you trying for the big turnover in round 2, or were you taking?
Yeah. I was trying to throw my jade, like not anything distance driver, but I didn't really mind if it didn't come back. And the problem is sometimes when you're throwing an understable disc, you do that, like you try to throw it understable instead of throwing it normal and let the disc turn over. So I just yanked on it a bit. But yeah, that I think that's the best play. I saw it's definitely effective. And like Chantel did it really well. I saw Alex do it really well. Rebecca did the turnover. It just didn't come back. So like it's definitely reachable for FPO. But it's also hard because then you're in that kind of bundle of trees. So depending on where you land, it was tough putts for people. But yeah, that hole got me both rounds. So
I mistakenly threw the sucker gap when we played it on day 1. I'm glad it got through, but I'm like, that's not at all the shot I wanted. It just worked out for me. And
Yeah.
like sometimes those things happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
It's a bird.
proceeded to throw it dead straight on hole 5, which is not what you want to do off the long tees.
Oh no, yeah. So that's what I did the first day. And I learned that was the other hole. So that was another mistake I learned from. And what I was doing wrong was I actually threw my jade on that too. And because it's a driver, I'm trying to throw it well, not particularly too hard, just so that it gets the right turn. But then, it just had too much time and too much height and it came back. And so the second day I was like, you know what? I'm just going to throw a mid range, but I'm just going to pump it out there like really confidently. And it was really good, right in the mouth of the gap, and had
Oh,
a nice.
nice.
So I had a jump putt to the basket, and then it was a little short, and then I made that putt for the 3. So I cleaned up 2 strokes there, which going into hole 6, I was like, for the second round, I was like, this is already so much better. Like, I'm already doing so many strokes better. Like I parred the first hole instead of bogeying it, and it was just like so many things better. So it was a much better round already. So that I think that like kept me on a good streak.
Yeah, like I find Sandy shapes up well if you're solid with your turnover game, or have a good or have a good forehand. It doesn't even need to be like an amazing forehand. Just a good serviceable forehand will serve you well on that course.
I did see a few shots that it was like a few holes like 18 and stuff where there was amazing forehands on my card that I was like, those are great. They're nice. They were the right height to skip under. And then I did a turnover and I was way closer to the basket. And I didn't understand because like hard to, see what's happening from back there. But it's interesting. Like I think some of the lines are a better turnover because it has a more glidey turn instead of you pushing and then having that skip kind of with the forehand. So that can kind of sometimes leave you deeper, hitting a tree and bouncing back and crashing into the trees high with a backhand turnover sometimes is better.
Hey, you definitely have that shot pretty well dialed. Most of the times I've seen you play, like it's in your bag of tricks for sure.
Yeah, definitely something I lean on, but I'm working on the forehand. So I did a few during the rounds and they went well. So that's better, but still not off the tee, so soon enough.
Always good. So yeah, you guys had a good card on Sunday. Did you hear or see what happened with Alex?
Oh yeah, it was actually on my card the first round. She almost aced hole 19. It's like that downhill, really straight shot, and she did this like perfect, kind of like a hyzer, but vaguely hyzer flip putter shot. It went right to the right of the basket, which is crazy to go that straight and miss right. And she hit the hill right behind it. Everyone was like, oh man, that was so good. And I think there was like some guys there and watching, and everyone was like, oh, it was so great. And she was like, oh, so happy, and went to go sit down on the bench. And right in like the middle of the bench is a tree. And it's right against the like where your backrest is. And so she went to go sit down like that and just hit her head back on it.
Oh my.
And we had like, I guess 1.5 holes left. So we ended and like went back, and not a big deal for that round, but I guess she felt fine, she said. And then the next day, it was bothering her. And then it was like getting worse and worse throughout the round. So yeah, I really hope she's okay. I mean, like that's a scary thing because when you have had concussions and you get one again, and it's like you're on watch, you're getting woken up every 20 minutes or whatever, because it's just like it's terrifying. So yeah, best wishes go out to Alex because hopefully she is better now.
Yeah, I hope so too. I saw that. I'm like, I don't know that I've ever seen an event in Ontario where someone's DNF'd like that far into a round, because I think she got
Yeah.
like at least halfway
Was
through.
it 15 or something like that?
Yeah, 14. Looks like she went 14 holes is what's been recorded. Like
You know what,
that's
too? We were at Project 15 and she had like her contact lens fold over or something crazy. And
holy.
she's like, she was trying to fix it and it was so bad that it like, I guess, I don't know, ripped or I don't know, whatever. She couldn't put it back in. So she played. She like kept, she sent someone like ran back to go get a contact for her from the car, but she played, she just kept playing. And like, it was wild. And it was such like fortitude and like drive. And so when I heard she dropped out, because I didn't know till after my round, I was like, oh man, it must have been really bad because
Yeah,
she's like, I don't know.
she's
She's
a
a smart ass,
competitor.
but like she is, yeah, she's very competitive and she usually perseveres through whatever. So it was probably very scary and very smart for her to get out of there.
Well, yeah,
So I hope,
our wishes, our best wishes definitely go out to her for that one for sure.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
last thing I want to touch on was actually, I guess, our mutual friend Sean posted congratulations on Facebook this morning, and I think you made some sort of comment about you only screwed up 4 holes out
yeah.
of 40 instead of what happened at Foxwood.
Yeah, I said whatever happened at Foxwood because who knows what happened at Foxwood. I mean, like the last day at Foxwood, I honestly I had so much fun because I mean I played so bad the first 2 days and I had so much game plan and so much thoughts about what I was going to do. But it did not go that way. So yeah, it felt a lot better to like execute everything that you were trying to do. Like it just felt right every throw. I was like, oh, this looks like the shot. Like this is what I'm gonna do, and there was no second guessing or worrying about it. And yeah, it felt way better. Yeah, but
That's
that's
very good to hear.
hole 4. I'll get that one day. One day. Oh, and I wanted to show off this. This is what we got as the trophy, and
I heard about that.
Toplink made this, but they actually went and burned the person's name in as they finished. So when you finished the round, they were like, "Oh, come back in 20 minutes and we'll do a ceremony." And you'd see like Ryan Clare drive in. And he's delivering these like every whatever hour, or however long each division takes to come in.
I was wondering if he was like doing that in his car or something because
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like so fast, and I'm like,
I think it's
like you're,
Toplink is just that close to
I mean,
Sandy Hollow.
it's fairly close, but it's still some pretty quick turnaround for someone to sit there and like burn it
Yeah.
and get it
Well,
over the course.
I think his wife Vera was doing the burning, and I think he was just going to like back and forth driving them. But yeah, it was a team effort for sure there. And then Victoria at the headquarters, like, getting a picture of everything and like all the things and handing things out. So it's a lot. They had a lot of volunteers too, a lot of
Yeah,
spotters, which was
it,
key. And if the bathroom situation was better, like that would have been great. But overall, like the course was great. There was really no holdups. Like I know
yeah.
the last round we may have been part of the holdup for the MPOs. Sorry, MPOs. Yeah, there were some things happening, so just a little bit longer and some slow downs in some spots, some rollaways and stuff like that. And I think Chris definitely made it clear to me that we were slow. But yeah, so
Did did
and
you guys end up getting a bit of rain yesterday? Because
oh yeah,
thought it was kind of starting as I was leaving the course, but
yeah, it's so interesting going to a tournament and playing so late because we started our second day at 3 o'clock, and I think we were at like it was probably near the islands, like it was around that time, maybe like a half hour, an hour into our round, and it started like sprinkling, but it was like sprinkling, and then
okay.
it just cleared up. It rained in the morning though, right? So we were kind of lucky.
It rained before I got there, and it rained as I was leaving. It was perfect timing.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
Um, And at least you said it's only sprinkling, not the downpours we've had at like P15, or like I hear they got it the Toronto Island Open or whatever it was
Oh yeah,
last like a couple weeks ago.
oh, I was there on Saturday. It was awful, but it was only awful for like the first round, and then the second round was fine. It was, and then it ended up being a beautiful day. But yeah, it was. They had a lot of rain, so it's bad.
It's beginning of June in Ontario. Rain happens.
Yeah.
So what's up next for you, Colleen?
I did want to mention the last part of that round, that -6 round. I actually had like a 7-foot putt for the 3, and I had like looked at the scores to just see like what I was at, and I was like, oh wow, 7 down's like really really good. And so I went up to the putt and I was like, okay, just don't screw this up. And I doinked it like low and really shitty. And I was like, oh my gosh. And my friend Tony's there, and he's like, you know, maybe I shouldn't say that, censored words. It was really funny. We all laughed it off, but it was just like one of those things where someone asked me after, like, oh, do you regret looking at it? And I was like, no, absolutely not. If anything, I think that helps me, like, in the long run, it didn't matter. It wasn't, the stroke made no difference at all except for my rating. And I think having it where at least I cared about that round and the rating, and I was like so excited about that. That could be for a championship or a trophy next time, where it's one stroke between me and my competitor. And I think having that experience was good, you know, to like be like, don't do that again. Just take a second, like stop being like ahead of yourself. Just, it doesn't matter what happened on the rest of the round. Like, and so it was a good learning experience. So yeah.
An unfortunate way to finish, but as you said, good for learning experiences for sure.
Yeah.
So what do you have coming up next, Colleen?
Oh, big tournament this weekend. We're going to Syracuse in New York.
Very nice.
It's sad too, because like Dreammaker's coming up, and I was saying, like, every time Dreammaker comes up, people are like, oh, I can't believe you've never gone to that tournament. And I'm like, it's always during Syracuse and River City Open. River City Open is like, I think it's a regional qualifier or something for some, I don't know, something. But it's a big deal. Like that one's 5K added cash, and Syracuse is 10K added cash. So it's like a big draw to get people out and stuff. And so, you know, it sucks not going to all the fun local ones, because Dreammaker's like you get to camp over. But yeah, we'll be at that. And it's like, if you look at Syracuse, it's like pretty heavy on the Canadian side. We talked to a lot of people. Sandy and Marty went last year, and they were talking it up. So we'll have the Hums there, and Alex and Chris and Oksana and Aiden are coming, and Calvin.
Nice.
I think Rebecca, Dawn signed up, and Kaylin and Joe and Jake and all those guys are coming. And yeah, it'll be great. So it's a lot, like I said, a lot of Canadians. So that'll be fun.
You and Chris better keep the youngins in line.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll show them how it's done, taking all those Americans' money. Hopefully.
I mean, you did it. You guys did it last year in Rochester. You and Chantal taking it.
Yeah, and then they tax us on it all, and they're like, "Oh, we'll take 30% off the top. Thank you." So, but it's still worth it.
Well,
but yeah, I just want to also show you these. I got some guys or discs.
Ooh.
And I went and saw, because Dave and Sarah were doing the like a merch, not a merch tent, but like a tent selling, and they were one of the sponsors of the event. So,
oh wow,
this was Alicia's stamp for the women's global, or the Canadian women's event, which is really cool. It's a sapphire. So excited!
I'm trying to ask what that was. I'm like, it doesn't say on the disc. I can't tell.
Yeah, and these are great too, because I bought these, and I was looking for white discs last year, and like clear ones or glow ones or whatever I could find, and I got a bundle of them together and I gave them to Dave and Sarah, and they dyed them for me. And so I'm super psyched because they're ones that will like go in my bag and make my bag more beautiful and replace ones that I don't have dyed. So this one though is will I'm gonna have to like hit a million trees with it before it becomes my yellow escape. But at least like I'm gonna work this one in, and it's gonna take the slot one day. So I might go in a different slot.
Just go back to Barrie or go to White Spruce and just start throwing it into the trees. Like,
yeah, right. That's right. Spruce Club on Thursday, or actually, I guess the Scarlet Woods or no, Marilyn Bell or something, and they're doing a barbecue with the Women's League on Thursday.
Beaches, I think, is Thursday
night. Beaches, glowy, and like barbecue with East End Putting League. And then Women's League is there as well. So it's like a big community meetup thing, which is cool. So we might try to go to that, or we might go to Spruce Club, or we might just go to Syracuse early. I don't know.
Decisions.
Yeah.
Well, always great talking to you, Colleen. Thank you very much for your time. Congrats again on the win.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And yeah, make sure you guys like subscribe, all that, and support all the local content. And make sure you check out those events. Thank you to Top Link, and look at Sandy Hollow. It's a great course, especially if you have some pro friends you want to beat. Take them to that course. It's an equalizer for sure.
Watch me not hit every tree on this course. I promise. Thank you.